Sometimes the signs are subtle. A site dumper's skip distorted by repeated whacks from an excavator bucket, gouges in the machine's counterweight, an excavator stood on tiptoes reaching too far or lifting too great a load. Sometimes the signs are less subtle. A machine lying on its side in a basement or upended in a trench, or, in extreme cases, on fire. Subtle or otherwise, such incidents are entirely avoidable, or at least they are avoidable in the hands of a truly competent machine operator. And there's the rub. We have an industry filled with competent operators. They all have little plastic cards to confirm their competence. But not all competent operators are created equal. There are some, time served, who have paid their dues on site. They've earned their stripes. They've been there, done it, and they've got the t-shirt. Their qualifications come in the form of hours worked, tasks completed, and challenges overcome. And then there's the others. They brandish their plastic colour-coded cards, CSCS, CPCS, NPORS, CCDO, each one claiming to be proof of competence, evidence that they know what they're doing, that they're qualified, and that they're safe. But here's the ugly truth that we're all supposed to ignore. Those cards do not prove competence. They prove you sat in a classroom. They prove you ticked the right box on a multiple choice test. They prove you paid your money and waited your turn. But do they prove you're ready for the real world? A life or death situation on site? Not even close. Real competence isn't handed to you after a training course. It's earned the hard way, in the freezing rain, in the dust and the diesel, when the machine cuts out mid-shift, or when someone makes a mistake and you're the last line of defense between an incident and a fatality. You can't simulate that in a PowerPoint presentation. You've all worked alongside someone who's fully carded but can't reverse a dumper without taking out a fence. You've seen guys freeze up mid-task or shrug off procedures they clearly never understood to begin with. But hey, their card was in date, so they must have been competent, right? This isn't just a criticism, it's a crisis, because the industry's obsession with cards isn't about safety. It's about liability. It's about box ticking. And most of all, it's about money. Let's not pretend otherwise. The entire card scheme system is a racket. Training providers, test centres and card issuers aren't there to develop skills. They're there to move people through the system. It's a conveyor belt, not a classroom. You pay, you sit, you pass, and you get your little plastic badge of honour. And it never stops. Cards expire because apparently, unlike your driving licence, your knowledge of safe operation, machine handling, or demolition protocol mysteriously vanishes over time. You don't forget how to ride a bike, but apparently you can forget how to use an excavator if you haven't paid for a refresher. Of course, that refresher might just be another half day in a porter cabin, staring at a whiteboard while someone reads bullet points from a script. Then it's another test and another check. And who's footing the bill for all this? Increasingly, it's the workers, especially now that so many have been pushed into so-called self-employment, a convenient status for big firms that want flexibility without responsibility. You're not an employee, they say. You're your own boss. That means you pay for your training. You pay for your cards. You take the hit if you can't get on site because the card has expired. Meanwhile, the training companies and card schemes rake in millions. And don't even get me started on the death of grandfather rights. For decades, the industry relied on the knowledge and experience of its longest-serving workers, men and women who knew their trade inside out. But with one policy change, those veterans were told, sorry, unless you pass this test, we can't recognise your skills. Imagine telling a man or a woman with 35 years behind the levers of an excavator, hundreds of successful jobs under his belt, that he needs to prove that he can still do the job he's been doing every single day. It's ridiculous. It's insulting. And worst of all, it's pushed out some of the best and most experienced operators we have, all in the name of standards. Here's the uncomfortable question that no one in a boardroom wants to ask. Are these schemes actually making sites safer or just more compliant? Because there is a difference. Safety is a culture. Safety is people looking out for each other. It's taking the time to do it right, even under pressure. It's the seasoned machine operator who spots a trench wall collapse before anyone else. It's the labourer who's seen enough to know when something's off and speaks up. Compliance, on the other hand, is paperwork. It's checklists. It's plastic cards and digital records that prove you were competent, even if you weren't. It protects companies from lawsuits and lets them tick the box that says, we did our part. And that's not about safety. That's about covering your ass. And the workers know it. They're frustrated. They're fed up. They've played this game for years, shelling out money and time for cards that don't reflect their ability, only their willingness to jump through hoops. Many of them feel insulted, disrespected, treated like numbers, not professionals. As an industry, we need to stop pretending these cards are the answer. Yes, we need training. Yes, we need clear standards. No one is saying otherwise. But real world site based assessments should be the foundation, not classroom theory. Let experienced supervisors and peers play a role in validating someone's capabilities. If someone's working safely and effectively on real jobs under real pressure for years, that should carry more weight than a one size fits all exam. The problem with plastic proof is that it fades, sometimes literally, but always figuratively. It can't show good judgment. It can't measure calm under pressure. It can't tell you whether someone is the kind of operator others trust to get the job done when things go wrong. Competence is more than compliance. It's character, it's consistency, it's confidence earned over time. And we need to respect that, not replace it with plastic tokens and empty promises. We've allowed laminated cards to become the industry's golden ticket, a shield for liability, a substitute for actual skill. We pretend they guarantee safety, but anyone who's spent more than 5 minutes on a real site knows better. Competence isn't something you renew every 5 years. It's something you build, job by job, mistake by mistake, over years of dust, danger, and most of all, doing. Until we stop worshipping cards and start respecting lived experience, we'll keep sending operators onto site, not as competent workers, but as ticking time bombs.